So in this video, we will learn how the coordinator can set the assessment plan. And only once the assessment plan is prepared by the coordinator, the teachers can add marks for the assessments. So for setting up the assessment plan by the coordinator, you have to choose the role of a lecturer because coordinator is a lecturer only. And then go to this option here, coordinator. Below that, you have the first option, set assessment plan. So click here, and for whatever courses you are the coordinator, you can see the list of those courses. If you don't see a course here, that means either you are not a coordinator or maybe you have not been assigned coordinator. So let me create the assessment plan for one of my courses, CSWD2101 Web Development 2. And here I can add information about my different assessments. So we have an assessment plan here as per our CDP for a course. So we have a quizzes for 10 marks. So weight is 10%. So since the total marks are 100, so 10% means 10 marks. For class activities or participation, we have 5%, which will mean 5 marks. For mini project, we have 15 marks. Midterm, we have 20 marks. And final, we have 50 marks. So let's translate this assessment in AMS. So let me go from the reverse order. Let me go for the final exam. So you can just write here whatever name you want to give. So generally for final exam we give final, and from here choose assessment type. So in this assessment type, since this is a final exam, so you can choose here final. And what is the marks for the final exam? You can see here it is 50% or 50 marks. So the marks for the assessment, in my case it is 50. For some of you it may be 60 or 40. So I put here marks 50. And this option, assessment option here, this one is mandatory. That means we are conducting one final exam for 50 marks, and exactly whatever student the marks will get, we will use that in our final calculation of the total marks. So only one final exam. And here percentage of marks to be calculated. So if you are conducting some assessment for some marks, and exactly whatever student marks the student is getting, that you have to include in the final calculation or calculation of total marks, then you will put here 100%. That means if the student gets 25 marks, exactly 25 marks will be added in the calculation. So you can see here my assessment final exam, assessment type is final, okay, and maximum marks for the final exam is 50, and assessment option is mandatory, right? We don't have the option choose one or choose two, choose best two. We don't have those options. So percentage to be calculated 100. Now the same pattern is for the midterm also. So let me give the name as empty. Don't give lengthy names for the assessment titles. And from here assessment type, this is a midterm, so you can choose here midterm, and the midterm is for 20 marks, so I'll put here 20. Even the midterm is mandatory, and you have to take the 100% of the marks which student is getting in the final calculation, so I'll write here 100. See, sometimes in some assessment the teacher may be conducting the assessment for, let's say, 20 marks, but in the final calculation he just wants to use 50% of those marks. Okay, in that case we will have to write 50% here, but in most of our assessments we are using 100% only. Okay, then we have mini project presentation. So you can write here let's say project, and this assessment type you can choose maybe kind of assignment, no issues, and maximum marks for mini project is 15. Okay, again this is mandatory. Okay, whatever student get marks out of 15, we have to add those marks as such in the total calculation. So again here 100%. The next one is class participation. I just make it short name CP class participation, and here we have 5 marks, right? So you can make 5 class assessment titles: class participation 1, class participation 2, okay, for 1 mark each. If you are doing 2 class participation, you can make CP1 and CP2 each with 2.5 marks, okay. Or if you want to just keep 5 marks for the class participation, and you want to keep track of the class participation activities, maybe 2 or 5 or whatever you are doing, uh, separately in some Excel sheet or in the Moodle, and then finally you just want to add 5 marks for class participation. So in that case, you can just keep one assessment type class participation, and from here choose class participation and maximum marks 5. Again, this is mandatory, and you will use 100% of this marks, right? So if you see right now, I have made 4 assessments and 90% of my assessments are covered. Now comes the quizzes. So generally, in many cases, in quizzes, the staff is conducting 3 quizzes, and they are taking the best 2. Sometimes they are conducting 3 quizzes and they are taking the marks of best 1. Okay, so in the quizzes you have the option that you can have, you can conduct maybe 3 quizzes and you can take best marks of best 2 or best 1. So for this, you can create, let's say in my case, I want to create 3 quizzes, okay, and I want to take the marks of best 2. So since the total weightage for quizzes is 10, so if I make 3 quizzes, I should make each quiz for 5 marks. The total will be 15, but since I am taking the marks of only best 2, so it will be for 10 marks only. So let me make here quiz 1, and from the assessment type choose quiz, because only in case of a quiz you have the option to have more than you can conduct n number of quizzes, and you can take the marks of best 1 or best 2. So you must choose here assessment type as quiz, and maximum marks. So every quiz I want to keep for 5 marks, and from here the assessment option I will choose, let's say I want to take the best 2 out of 3 or out of 4. So best 2 I want to choose, right? And percentage to be calculated, keep it 100% only here. Then quiz 2. So again, the choose type. For all the quizzes, the type should be quiz only, because if the assessment type, if you have quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, and each one belongs to this assessment type quiz, only then it will be able to choose the best marks of best 2 quizzes. So make sure that for all 3 quizzes, the assessment type is quiz. Again, this for 5 marks. Okay, so you have to take best 2 out of this 3 quizzes. Percentage to be calculated 100. Then we have quiz 3, and again choose type as assessment of type as quiz. Take marks as 5 and choose the best 2, and here make it 100%. So save it here. So now you can see here the total marks percentage is 100%, right? 50 marks for the final exam, 20 marks for the midterm, 15 marks for the project. For class participation, 5 marks. And we have 3 quizzes, quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, and if you see, they belong to the same assessment type. They must belong to the same assessment type quiz. Okay, and since I'm taking best 2, so out of these 3 quizzes, it will take the marks of the best 2 quizzes, and you can see here total marks percentage 100. So that means my assessment plan is complete, and now the staff can enter marks for this course. Thank you.